on the NewsChannel 5 network. This is Titans Talk.
Thanks for being with us tonight on Titans Talk here on NewsChannel 5 Plus. In for Steve Lehman, I'm Jonathan Hutton, and coming up, we'll talk with Paul Kuharsky of ESPN.com and my co-host on the Midday 180 on 104.5 The Zone. Titans Talk tonight, where we will hear from Mike Mularkey a little bit later in the hour, his press conference today, reviewing yesterday's game and looking ahead to this coming weekend's matchup against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Yesterday, a very soggy afternoon at Nissan Stadium, to say the least, and a 24-21 loss for the Titans against the Oakland Raiders. It was Derek Carr taking on Marcus Mariota. As we check out the highlights, we'll start in the first quarter, where scoreless in the first, Mariota over the middle to Craig Stevens. Great concentration as he somehow makes the juggling catch. Stevens tips it to himself for the score. Third quarter, Raiders up 10-6, driving again. Carr to Seth Roberts. That's right, Seth Roberts. He's able to hit and get in for the score. Here's Jalston Fowler's touchdown. This was also second half, 4:40 remaining. This is after a penalty call that we'll get into with PK in just a moment. Touchdown again to Seth Roberts from Derek Carr. So last chance for the Titans. Mariota, nothing but white jerseys there. He's picked off for the second time and make it 11 straight home losses for the Titans. 24-21 the final. Mariota 3 touchdown passes, but also 2 interceptions. Derek Carr throws 3 touchdowns. Titans drops 2-9 on the season. We welcome in Paul Kuharsky of ESPN.com and the Midday 180 on 104.5 The Zone. PK, what's up? How are you?
Well, how are we doing?
Doing well. 2 weeks from tonight, let's get this out of the way. 2 weeks from tonight, the Midday 180 holiday extravaganza. Are you excited?
I am excited. I'm already a little nervous about coming up with something good for show and tell.
Christmas show and tell, or just, I mean, you're bringing the Ornavate. You're going to bring, I'm not sure what else, but
Megaphone.
The megaphone, yeah, the bell.
I'll bring it all. And then I think we each need to bring something good for show and tell. Something, I would vote for something surprising and revealing. Not necessarily Christmas related.
Okay, well, okay, I'm with you. So 2 weeks from tonight, right here on Sportsline, we will have the Midday 180 Holiday Extravaganza. Paul, you were there, of course, yesterday for the Titans loss, and one thing we didn't hit on in the highlights was the penalty. Everyone's talking about the penalty that was called on BW Webb for defensive holding in the fourth quarter that gave the Raiders life. 2 plays after that, they end up scoring on a touchdown pass from Derek Carr. Did you see anything from the press box initially that led you to believe it was a good call? Because no one I've talked to seems to think that the call was correct.
Well, I mean, I think most of us watch the ball, so we have no idea what's going on with B.W. Webb and Amari Cooper on the other side of the field. Then you hope for a replay, and CBS didn't have a good one. And frankly, in the press room, we were looking all 22s already out on NFL Rewind or whatever they call it these days. I was looking with John Glennon and David Beauclair at it. The sideline view is, pretty much the same as the far-away replay we did see on CBS, which wasn't telling. And the end zone view, it wasn't in the frame. So there's no real good video of it unless, one of your guys or one of the other local channels had a camera on it, and there's no reason they would have. So I don't think we're ever going to really see it very closely. I buy Mularkey and Webb, though, and Mularkey said again, he didn't think that Cooper was restricted. And then most significantly, the league told him it was a, quote, a poorly officiated play, he said. Now, here's what happened, Jonathan. I know it's a long-winded answer. So Mularkey also told us today that the league told him if we, the press, had further questions to call the league. So I had already sent an email to the league earlier in the day. But in response to that email, the league said, we do not discuss our communication with member clubs.
Of course not.
They put us on this circle and try to get us busy and figure, when we're busy trying to get unbusy, we'll forget all about it.
if this were the Patriots, this would be headlines. I know this is a 2-9 team, but I'm with you. There's this back and forth where, the NFL says we don't discuss that. Meanwhile, they're telling the Titans to tell the media to call the league for discussion of the play. I don't know what they're supposed to do in this situation. And this is typical Titans football as of late, by the way. They have a penalty called on them that the league comes back and says, oh, we're sorry, it was the incorrect call. I know they didn't go as far to say that, but they did say, at the very least, a judgment call that was nitpicky, to be fair. And it was. I mean, it was just, I don't know how he throws that flag in that situation. Ball was already out of Carr's hand. And we learned today, Paul, that, and I didn't pick up on this watching the replay last night, but Crabtree, I mean, if they want to be picky about it, Crabtree moved prior to the snap.
Yeah, Malarkey said not only was there a call made against the Titans that shouldn't have been made, but there were at least 2 calls against the Raiders that weren't made that should have been made, starting with a false start by Crabtree, and then Holmes, the intended receiver, he said interfered with both Griffin and Sensabaugh in the end zone before Griffin broke up the play. We watched that. I didn't really see him interfere with Griffin, but he definitely shoved Cody Sensabaugh right in the back and to the ground. So, that's Titans football right now. They got screwed on the call. That's true. But we talked about it a little bit on the show today, and I'm about to file a post on it. 5 other instances in this game where they either gave up unnecessary points or lost a chance at points that, you can't say it would have changed the game, because from that moment forward the game may have gone differently. But let's run through them quickly. Mariota takes a 6-yard sack in the second quarter. They were in range of a 53-yard field goal attempt by Ryan Suckup. Wasn't raining at that stage. Would have had a chance. 3 points potentially lost there. Carr threw for Jameez Olawale, and David Bass had 2 hands on it, probably a pick 6.
Yep.
Drops, 7 points probably lost there. Carr threw to Seth Roberts on a 3rd and 8 from the Titans 10. Parrish Cox, for some reason, went low, put his head down. Roberts took a hop back, looped around him, and went into the end zone. They get a touchdown instead of a field goal. 4 points that they could have saved right there. Trey McBride forces the Jeremy Ross fumble. Damian Stafford recovers it. But 3 plays later, Mariota throws an interception right to David Amerson. At least a field goal lost there if they make it. And then fourth quarter with 50 seconds left in the game, obviously the interception that ended it, they would have needed to gain some yardage there, but could have put Suckup in position for the 3 points that would have won the game there. 5 separate chances, never minding the blown call, where they could have done something that would have all of those plays worth more than the 2 points they lost.
You can read Paul Kuharsky's work at ESPN.com right now. Just click on the NFL tab and search out the Titans from there. Paul, you had a post this morning about what you would like to hear from certain players inside the Titans locker room that you haven't heard in a while. I believe the most recent player on your list, correct me if I'm wrong, was Kevin Mawai, that would step up and call other teammates out, not necessarily by name, but hold players accountable for their play on the field. And you're saying you haven't heard that in a while.
I haven't, but I did make a mistake, and somebody did tweet to me a Jim Wyatt piece at Titans Online dated September 29th, so relatively early in the season. Following the loss to the Colts, Delaney Walker did say there should be a sense of urgency. I feel the coaches have a little heat coming off of them, so if these guys are coming in here thinking it's going to be a cakewalk, they're mistaken. If you don't taste it in your mouth, you don't want to be here. The things that happened in that game should never have happened. I can't tell you exactly what was said, but the point of us not finishing that game, it was ridiculous. It was made perfectly clear by the head coach. Now, I don't know if he's quite saying the kind of things that Keith Bullock and Blaine Bishop and Kyle Vandenbos and Albert Hainsworth and Kevin Mawai would have said back in the day, but I think that might be about as close as you're going to get in this day and age. So I did fail to remember that one. But my broader point remains. This team doesn't have the type of players who are willing to kind of say what Keith Bullock said. And he remembered a quote that he had. This is back after the famous, this was Simon Kuharsky's 2 days after he was born, so I know it was in October of 2009. when they got pasted up at Foxborough, right? Got destroyed 59-0 by the Patriots. He thinks he said this after that. At the end of the day, I respect everyone on this team as a man, and I love the guys that I play with, but some of these men on this team have got to step up their football game in order for us to be a good team. We need football players. We're filling roster spots, but we need football players. And I think there's some of that going on here, and I think guys don't speak out about the standards in the room because they don't want to rock the boat and because they're friends with the guys. And I think Keith, in an eloquent way there, said, I'm friends with these guys, but I need them to play better football with me in order for us to have a chance. I don't think anybody really drives home that point with the assembled roster this team has now.
All right, so let's talk about two quick topics that I know fans are discussing right now. First, before we hit the broader topic of the next head coach for the team on a full-time basis, the wide receiving core. Injuries have played a factor this year, but that's not the main excuse. There has been no consistency with that group. And I know that's something that you touched on with Mike Mularkey today. I'm assuming you'll have a post coming up soon on that, and we're going to hear from Mularkey later this hour. But what's your overall take on the wide receiving core right now and where they should be right now?
It's terrible, and they should be better in that, Justin Hunter got hurt, but he should have been playing better before he got hurt. Kendall Wright's missed the last 3 games, but he needs to be a standard setter for the group as it's currently constructed. And Dorial Green-Beckham, I don't care that he didn't play last year. He's a second-round draft pick, and he's on the field on a regular basis. Mularkey, by the way, apologized and said that Dorial did nothing wrong on the final interception, that he misspoke, and that's, he talks about the dangers of talking sometimes before seeing the film. So he apologized to Green-Beckham in the press conference for that. But the guy's not making plays, and he's not reliably in the right spot on a regular basis. I came away from today really disappointed in Kendall Wright, who had a bad game. A bad game coming off a 3-game layoff from the sprained knee. And then we talked about 2 of the things that he did badly in this game. One was the retreating after the catch, where he gave up yardage because he thinks he's going to outrun people around the corner, something that rarely works at the NFL level and has rarely worked for him. Mike Mularkey said that they coach guys to catch and turn and go, and that he lost conceivably 7 or 8 yards there. And then the other play, a deep ball up the left side to Kendall Wright, where he turned and kind of jumped backwards, facing the sky, trying to catch a ball that a defender easily tipped away in front of him. Mularkey said, we coach our guys on another thrown ball like that to stay on their feet, to face the ball, to go up and get it at the high point, and to make the defender come through them in order to get it. Kendall Wright obviously went against coaching there, and I really pressed the issue probably too much, saying, how is your top receiver, who's coached on these 2 points very thoroughly, according to you, not making either play or not doing the right thing on either play? And he kind of ultimately stated it. It's my fault. We're not coaching them well enough. They're doing the best that they can. Well, it doesn't seem the best that Kendall Wright can do, if he's been coached those 2 things, some of which since high school, Mularkey suggested, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I'm way down on Kendall Wright off of that, way down.
Titans are 2-9. Mularkey 1-3 as head coach. And we heard from Steve Underwood when Mularkey was named interim coach after Wisenhunt was fired that part of the overall process of evaluating him would be based on wins and losses. Is Mularkey still in the mix for the future of the head coaching position? And what are they looking for in that spot in their next coach?
Well, he's still in the mix until they tell us he's out of the mix. But, I'm not expecting many wins for them the rest of the way here. I certainly can't see him winning at New England or against Houston the way they're playing right now. At the Jets would be tough. They've already lost to Jacksonville. They've already lost to the Colts. Those are the teams that are left on the schedule. Steve Underwood said that to get the job, Mularkey would have to, get the team to have markedly different results, and those results are measured in wins and losses. So right now he's not, unfortunately for him, on pace for markedly different results. And that would be the first question I'd ask Steve Underwood if he was sitting at a table introducing Mike Mularkey as the coach of the Titans with the interim removed. And I think Mularkey, I think he could shake things up more, but I think he's adapted in some ways better than I imagined he could. And, he's not been dealt a good deck of cards here. But, given a choice between Mike Mularkey and the rest of the available coaching world, I don't think it's a personal thing against Mike Mularkey for anybody to say, you've got to go out to the available coaching world.
Follow PK on Twitter, at Paul Kuharsky NFL. But there is one rule, Paul. You want complete sentences in questions asked. You do not want one-word questions.
Well, I understand a complete sentence may be difficult given the 140-character limitation. Now we're just begging for trolls. But if you just tweet me, Trey McBride, ? I'm not going to answer. I'm doing a better job at not answering people who are irritating me instead of being irritated and getting into a conversation with them today. But today somebody called me aloof for saying that the people, I tweeted that the quote-unquote people who think the Titans would be in play to give up a first-round pick for Chip Kelly are, one, the Eagles, and two, Chip Kelly and his agent. A guy said that I was aloof to the fan base for saying that. I think he needs to look up the meaning of aloof. And again, if you're giving up a first-round pick for a head coach in today's NFL, I'd need him to be Bill Belichick, and I'm not sure who the second guy is that's worth it. Remind me, who's the second-best coach in the NFL who I would give up a first-round pick for?
Well, the guy that's been in the Super Bowl most consistently, has been Pete Carroll. I mean, if you're going to go in that direction.
Sure, I'd take Pete Carroll for a first-round pick.
I mean, that's the first name that came to mind for me.
Your fan base knows how to find talent, develop it.
It's not Chip Kelly. I know that.
Not many people not many people alive, and not even too many dead. I mean, Lombardi, I'd take him for a first. I might give two firsts.
Paul, I will catch you tomorrow at noon for Midday 180. I'm sure you'll be periscoping at some point in between now and then, and you're on the Wake Up Zone tomorrow morning, so a busy slate for you.
Yeah, I haven't been periscoping much. It's those trolls on there. That's where I get a lot of one-word questions.
That's it. Paul, thank you for joining us.
Buck up? ?
PK, follow him on Twitter again, at Paul Kuharsky NFL. You're going to hear a lot from him coming up later this hour. In fact, next, Mike Mularkey's press conference from earlier today. Paul asks a bunch of questions, especially about the wide receiving core. That's next here on Titans Talk on News Channel 5+.